classroom, and children learn how to learn sense of belonging, enlightenment, and change throughout our 4 cycle themes for each quarter. So that's one of the best things about being a Montessori when 12 years old.
We gotta start them young. So yeah, she's gonna be helping facilitate this event. Once again, we just want to say thank you all for coming out. You being here just shows how our community is important to you, and it just shows that you're trying to figure out how we can get our community together. So this is the first step. We're gonna move out the way though and go ahead and let Miss Yvette Simpson come up and open up to us and take us in the right way.
Inspired me, huh? I know. Good job. You got to take another round of applause. Take another round of applause for being so brave, standing up here. And of course, Miss Ebony, who is going to be lending her voice to the airwaves, make sure we support her effort in getting her voice out there. As you know, there are fewer and fewer opportunities for us to be heard in television and in radio. So when someone steps up and steps out and says they want to be our voice, we should certainly be supportive. I'm Councilmember Yvette Simpson, running for mayor of the great city of Cincinnati. I want to thank Emmanuel and his entire team for putting this together. It takes a lot of work. A lot of work. These vendors are amazing. He's got the equipment over here that I can't even begin to understand. You got the young man here working that look like got some turntables, some new school turntables. And you all have come out today for the first annual Keep It Real Family Summit. I just want to welcome you all, and I want to talk about why summits like this one are so very important. We know that our kids are in crisis. We know that our young people need to be heard. We know that we need to give them the guidance, support, and encouragement that they need to be successful. That's on us. We can't outsource that. We can't redirect that. We can't put that on somebody else. It is time to wake the village. It is time to wake the village. Understand me? So I've never birthed a child, not one. But I got 65,000 kids. Every baby in the city of Cincinnati is my child. Don't I look good for somebody who has 65,000 kids? I don't have to birth them to love them, and I don't have to birth them to care about whether they live or die, and I don't have to birth them to tell them that they are amazing and that their future is amazing, that they will be great, and that they're beautiful just the way they are. They're my children, even though I didn't have them. So when people say parents need to step up, I say, I'm the mother, I will step up. And so I want us to not make excuses for the fact that our children didn't have someone birth them who can give them guidance. We should be a village. It takes a village to raise a child. That's an African proverb that comes from our roots. So I want to encourage each and every one of you for this next event next year. If each and every one of us grabs the person to our left and person to our right, our neighbor on our left and our neighbor on our right, these chairs are full. If we grab a baby on our way, hey baby, can I come pick you up on the way? I think I got something you might need. Grab a couple babies, load them up in your car, bring them here. They need to be here. They need to be nourished. I'm going to say one more thing before I relinquish the microphone, because I'm just the welcome person here. We should be very ashamed when the streets do a better job of raising our kids. I'm just going to hold us in contempt right now. So kids go into the streets and there's someone there that says, I'll love you, I'll protect you, I'll give you what you need, I got your back, you never have to worry about a thing. All you gotta do is, and guess what? If a child is faced with that and when they look at what they've got, they see they don't have a meal to eat from, they're scared to leave the house, nobody to protect them. They don't know what their future looks like because nobody told them that they come from greatness and that they have the potential to be amazing, that they will be amazing. So if we don't provide better options than the streets, we're going to lose them. And it's our fault. It's not on them. Survival is a natural instinct. And I don't believe a single baby is born evil. I think babies are born pure and have the greatest potential. And we've got to make sure that from the moment they get here, we take care to make sure they reach that potential. Because it's not just about them. We can be a little selfish, it's about us, right? The individual who's going to cure cancer is one of these babies.
That's right.
The person who's going to make sure that we don't continue to die from every single disease or disorder is in that group. The first black woman president is probably in that group. We've got scientists and engineers who are going to create amazing inventions to make our lives better that's in that group. If we don't make sure they have what they need, we won't have what we need.
That's right.
So if you got to be selfish about it, be selfish about it and say, I'm going to feed into you so that you can do what you need to do to make sure we're okay. So we need to see every child that way, and I do. And I love every single one of them. I tell them and I'll tell you. Where my babies at? Stand up. We got a few of you. All my babies. Y'all technically still babies. In your 20s. If you're in your 20s, you're still a baby. You'll find out when you get close to 40 that you're still a baby when you're in your 20s. Then it's too late. Then it's too late. I want to say that every single one of you, if nobody told you today that I love you, if nobody tells you this today, you're amazing. Nobody else tells you you're capable. You were made in the image of God. You were perfect. You will reach amazing potential and see high heights. And you are loved and supported and encouraged. And your future will be greater than your past. You will change the world. You will. And so I want you to hold that in your spirit, because I worry that our kids and our young people are hearing messages that aren't that message. And if you keep hearing those messages, you start to believe it if you don't get a different message. So that comes from my heart to yours. You are great. You have amazing potential that you will reach. You will change the world. You are beautiful just the way you are. You don't need to change. Okay? Don't let the world tell you you are a success because of who you are. And if you keep on this amazing road that you're on, you're going to impress all of us. You're going to change the world. And guess what? We need you to. Because we ain't going to be here forever. I'm going to retire someday. I don't know about y'all. And we want to make sure you're ready to take this world over. We need you. We need you. We need every single one of you. We need you. You're valuable to us. I want to thank every single person who's going to speak today, many of whom are friends who I know and love. I certainly want to thank our police officers, including Officer Arnold, who's going to talk, and see our CRC staff who's here, all the city folks who are here today. I see Pamela J., Mayor of North Fairmount in the back, representing community advocate and activist, amazing woman who's been supportive of our health clinics for many years and who holds it down in North Fairmount. You better not mess with Pamela J. I'm just glad we friends. I'm just glad we friends. Because there's certain people, you don't want to not be your friend. She's one of those people. So I want to thank all of you for coming out. I'll relinquish the microphone. I will have to run. I'm going to stay for a little while. We'll have to run. It is a very, very busy day today. I wish I could stay longer. But I wish you well on this day. And to next year, we're each going to be responsible for bringing 2 more people. You could probably do more than that. If I was Ed McMahon giving out $10 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse, y'all would have this whole place full. If I was Oprah giving cars under seats, we would all be in here. We got something that's a little better than that. We're going to feed and nourish your soul and your spirit. Is that okay? So we need to make sure that we get each and every one of us for next year's event and make sure that you bring someone here. Thank you all for your time. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. I love you.
Thank you, Miss Yvette. Can we give her another round of applause? Our next guest is Officer Lewis Arnold.
Good afternoon. So I saw on the program, police police engagement. I'm not sure how that's supposed to flow. So this is what we're going to do. First, I'll introduce myself, give you a little bit of my background. And then I'm just going to open it up for questions that you may have as it relates to police and community relations. How's that sound? So as you know, I'm Officer Lewis Arnold. I've been on the force. It'll be, hey, Pamela J. It'll be 9 years in June. I came on the department very late in life. This is actually my second career. Before this, I was a residential contractor specializing in heating and air conditioning. And 2007 hit, housing crash, phone stopped ringing, I needed to pay bills. My son had already been on the department 10 years and he encouraged me to take the police exam and go through the process, which was 13 months to become a Cincinnati police officer. The interesting story is that my son got on the department long before me. He had been on 10 years when I came on. And as I said, I came on very late. I was 55 years old when I became a Cincinnati police officer. So a little history was made there. I was the oldest recruit to graduate from Cincinnati Police Department in the history. So in that, I've always had this strong desire to do two things: work with youth and work with our community, and to see our community improve. And that has been able to happen in this uniform. God has really allowed me to do some amazing things while wearing this blue uniform. And number one, standing for law enforcement, but number two, standing for righteousness, and that's all righteousness. I'm married, I have 2 kids, I have 3 grandchildren, longtime resident of Woodward, raised in Avondale, graduated from Woodward High School, spent a little time in college at Ohio University is where I met my wife. Today, I am the faith-based community liaison officer for the Cincinnati Police Department, which is a very unique position in that my basic job is to develop relationships in the faith community, and that's all faith. That's Christian, that's Islamic community, that's the Jewish community, any faith you name. I've been asked to engage those communities, bridge gaps, because as we know, 2001, one of the main communities that drove our unrest in the city was our faith community. Mainly our black preachers in the city, because they were fed up with the things that were going on. So that was a bridge that had to be built, and God has allowed me to build that bridge. And I would say today, Cincinnati Police Department has a great relationship with the clergy in our city, and I just thank God that He gave me the opportunity for that. So I just wanted to lay that out to you. I have thick skin, so any question you want to ask, I will try and answer. I will take on. If you feel like you need to vent a little bit, you can vent. I'm fine with that also. But I want to say this too, and this is what I tell people all the time when they begin to complain. Instead of being a part of the problem, become a part of the solution. How do you become a part of the solution? You become a Cincinnati police officer. You change the system from the inside out. Standing outside complaining about what's going on inside has no effect. But when you're inside and you can bring about change by being a change agent, then things can happen the way you want them to happen. So, first question.
Well, first I want to say thank you for being a positive part of the police force. That's very, very important that we see positive faces associated with police. But my question is, do you think that 13 months is long enough for training for such an important and intense position? Because it's jobs that you train longer than that for, that you don't have access to any type of weapon.
I'm just going to let you know I got backup back there. No, I got backup just in case. No, I'm talking about Officer Green back there. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. So 13 months is the interview process. That's not the training. It takes 13 months to get into the academy. So it's a very intense background screening that we go through, a vetting that we go through to even get into the academy.
That's good to know. So once you're in the academy, that's when you actually start training.
That's when our training starts. So let me say this to you, is that Cincinnati, and I say this with truth behind it, that we are probably one of the best trained police departments in the nation. OPADA standards for training is 13 weeks. We double that. We do 26 weeks of training. And we're cutting edge in that community police relations came about because of this collaborative agreement, but we still practice it. De-escalation, which is rarely taught. Diversity, which is rarely taught when it comes to training police officers. So we do things in our academy that a lot of departments do not do. So when you deal with your smaller departments in this area, most of them, they go through Butler Tech, they get certified by the state of Ohio, they do their 13 weeks, they get certified by the state of Ohio to carry a firearm to become a peace officer. Then they go to work for places like Woodlawn, Reading, Deer Park. They go through these smaller departments that do not have their own academy. Yes, sir.
Dad, what would be the first advice you would give to a young person in this room if they come in contact with a police officer? What would you suggest to them to dissolve the situation?
Well, I always tell people whenever I get an opportunity to speak to an audience that's predominantly African American, compliance is the number one rule.
That's right. That's it.
Number one rule. If an officer walks up to you, and oftentimes we won't tell you immediately why we stopped you. And if they ask for your ID, give them your ID. Give them your ID, allow them to do whatever business they need to conduct. And then oftentimes you move on. So that's the best thing, because this is what I tell folks. And this is keeping it 100. You can't win in the street. If you challenge us in the street, you're not going to win. You challenge us in the courtroom, you challenge us through our complaint authority. We have a complaint authority in this city, where even if you feel that an officer spoke to you and he was disrespectful, go to that district where it happened, ask for a complaint form, fill the complaint form out, and by our policies, you have to speak to a supervisor before you leave that district.
That's right.
That complaint is then turned over to our internal investigation unit. Discourtesy is one of the biggest complaints we get, and these things are dealt with, believe it or not. But what happens in our community, we won't follow through. We won't go file the complaint. We won't file the complaint and then speak to the supervisor, and then with the Citizen Complaint Authority call us to interview us, to follow through with the interview, and then with the internal investigation unit call us to interview, to follow through with that interview, so that you can get whatever satisfaction you need to get in reference to your complaint. So I encourage you to follow through. If someone is discourteous to you on the street, don't argue with them. Get their name and badge number and file your complaint. And as a police officer, everyone knows I'm going to speak the truth. So I speak the truth to the community, because the community needs to know. And in the department, they know I speak the truth. So if a question is asked, I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to give you the truth. I'm not going to water anything down. Yes, sir.
Being a police officer for 9 years,
Yes.
what do you think has changed with the kids of our communities that they challenge you guys? They act like they're like the question he just asked, like, but the kids nowadays, what happened?
Well, Todd's laughing too. It's disrespect. He and I were in the hallway just talking when we were raised up, and a police officer told you to do something. You did it. You didn't hesitate. You don't know how many times I've been cursed out by 14 and 15-year-olds. I was called to a group home because a young man was acting out. I get there. It gets to the point where I have to arrest him. I'm trying to put handcuffs on him, and he spits in my face. So that disrespect that our kids have, and so when you look at it, it's not just a disrespect for police officers. It's a disrespect for authority, because it happens in the schools.
School bus.
It happens on the job, and it happens out in the community. Our biggest issue in this city We have Black Family Reunion. Who all goes every year? I go every year. It's the last one in the country. Why is it the last one in the country? Because young people have come to every single one throughout the nation and destroyed it. And I will commend former Chief Craig, former Chief Blackwell, and present Chief Isaac. They say that event will continue in this city. So what do? We flood downtown with police officers. We have to show a show of force to keep the kids from being out of control and destroying an event where we're supposed to be celebrating family. Celebrating family. So this is how I operate. I see young men walk down the street, I say, and I'm not in uniform. Pull your pants up. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. And they pull them up. But we're afraid to confront our kids today. I'm never going to be afraid to confront a child. Never. And Councilperson Simpson said it best. It takes a village to raise a... I grew up in the 60s. I did something out in the street before I got home. My mother knew. Because somebody, Mr. Bill, next door, or Miss Susan at the gas station saw me. She's already at my door, let my mother know. She's going to check me. She's going to check me. And then when I get home, I'm going to get checked. One more question. Yes, sir.
Can you speak about the youth to work program that the police department is partnering with the city with, and how that relationship has helped with any teenagers?
Well, I'm not, be honest with you, I'm not totally familiar with that program, but I will tell you this, is that the police department has 2 youth programs that are pretty big. One, the kids actually get paid, and that's our Explorer program. And it's a summer program for young people between the ages of 12 and 17. And then we also have a cadet program, and they're junior police officers. So this is a great opportunity for 2 things. One, for young people to walk hand in hand with police officers, to see what we do on a daily basis, and to get summer employment and get summer income. So it's a great program. If you want to check the program out, you got some young people that are interested in it, just go to the City of Cincinnati's website and then find the prompts and follow the prompts.
As far as first, the explorers don't get paid. That's get paid.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're an explorer? That's where I mean. I don't know. I've been given the wrap up sign.
Okay,
So.
I'm gonna make it quick. I have a favor to ask for parents. I was born in 1957 down in West End, 1070 West Liberty Street, right? Mess up, your parents, and we didn't have no telephone, so they was there, they could reprimand you. I just need parents. I've been working on school buses for 17 years. When a preschooler tells you, you're not my mama, I ain't gotta listen to you. That stays there. And as they become older, and someone in authority asks them to do something for their own good, they hear their mama. You ain't gotta listen to them, they ain't your mama. I'm not lying to you, I work for First Student.
We understand. We understand.
So if you all would teach your children to respect authority, it starts at home. It might save their life. Scripture. Respect your parents, honor your parents, so your days will be long.
We're going to take one more question right here. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What type of social engagement initiatives do you think the police department can come up with our young people? What types of programs, whether it's, like I said, social programs?
Well, this is what I would recommend to each of you. We do have an entire section of our police department that deals strictly with youth. It's our youth services department. And you can also, you still go on the City of Cincinnati, click on Cincinnati Police, and then go to the youth services section. And we have a summer camp for youth. That's a full week where the kids are living with police officers for a full week at Camp Joy. And everything is provided. And it's $25, but they offer $25 scholarship. So there's we do a lot of things, but I have to get down, but I would just suggest that you go to the City of Cincinnati website and click on Cincinnati Police website. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Lewis. Knowledge is key, and there is resources out here, as we can see. Up next is Miss Victoria Morgan, and she is going to speak to us from the She Healed Incorporated. Let's give her a clap as she come up. She's going to talk to us about overcoming child abuse and financial literacy, all these things that our organization does.
Thank you. So I'm sitting on the bed, watching cartoons, playing. I hear voices in the hallway. I hear people running up the stairs, and I'm young, so I continue watching TV. And my mother, who at the time was in the restroom getting high, opens the front door. Men come rushing in, and they beat her. I didn't understand what was going on at that time, but as I got older, I realized, my mother owed whoever money, she didn't, whatever. So my mother struggled with addiction really all of my childhood. My mother did not raise me. So very early on, I learned to fend for myself. 3 years old, I knew how to go to the kitchen, fry me some bologna. I usually had Vienna sausage and crackers for lunch. And then my dad's family started catching wind, like something's not right over there. My dad was stationed in the Army at the time. He was trying to escape the life that he was living out in the streets. And while in Germany, my dad became an ordained minister. And so at the age of 6, I was flown from Cleveland, Ohio to Reno, Nevada. And we traveled an hour south of that to an Army base in Hurlong, California. I was excited. It was my first time having my own room, and it was decorated all pretty, all the Barbies, all the teddy bears that any girl could ever want. And it felt like heaven. Within a week, and I can remember the first incident very vividly, all my dad really knew how to cook was chicken. So every day it was baked chicken and rice, fried chicken and noodles, I was chickened out. So one day I decided I just didn't want any more chicken. I just didn't. I wrapped my food up in my napkin, you know how you do the cough, and threw it away. Went in my room, and I came back out for something, and I got snatched by the back of my hair. Punched, kicked, and choked till I passed out. I was 6 then, and that behavior continued until the age of 17 when I was graduating from high school. And I was an honor roll student, full ride scholarship to engineering school, so nothing that you could really fathom that would justify the behavior. But I understand it wasn't an issue that I had, it was an issue that he had. Fast forward, I'm married. I was working at Fifth Third and have pretty much been in finance and accounting for about 12 years. I'm currently an accounting manager, but I always felt like there was something more that I was called to do. And so I remember about 4 years ago, just praying and asking God for direction, clarity, just feeling unfulfilled in the everyday mundaneness of my job. And I recall watching an Oprah episode. It was her most memorable guest, and she had a young lady, she was an older lady, mid-50s, who was telling her story of how she had been physically and sexually abused as a child, and it was very similar to things that I had experienced. But she had been diagnosed with 92 multiple personalities. She was bipolar or schizophrenic. And throughout her interview, you could see her changing into these different people, these different voices, these different. And I remember just sitting in my living room crying and just realizing how blessed I was. Because granted, if we could all pick and choose our life, we would pick the best of things, but I recognize they really do make us who we are, and others encounter those same things, and they never really fully recover. It was at that point that I felt like I had my answer from God, and I knew exactly what I was called to do. And so I began to work through my own personal issues, going to counseling, because I couldn't help someone else get healed and delivered if I had not been healed and delivered myself. And so I founded my nonprofit, She's Healed. We work with, initially it was just women, victims of domestic violence. I now lead a class at the men's prison in Marion and up in Columbus. I've worked with Councilmember Simpson on some legislation that should pass shortly for data violence. And really whatever it is that I can do to help people, I try to do. I genuinely care about people. That's what motivates me, that's what I'm passionate about. The financial literacy part, I'm the county manager. I love helping people with the budget if you're just not good with money. If it's really any hardship, you know, according to statistics, I could say that I'm supposed to be strung out on drugs, 15 kids, no job, no car, all these things that thank God that I'm not. And so when I meet people that are, because of life, I get life happens. But if I could be of any assistance to help you with that, I'm here. I will conclude with, and I realize this is, I may regret this, but if you need assistance with your resume, if you need assistance, I help people I do like mock interviews with people, because a lot of times you're qualified for the job, but you're just not good at interviewing. So if you need any assistance with that, my personal email is morgan.victoriam@gmail.com. And I can assure you, if you send me what you have, I will revise, edit, I will make the phone call, I will get you interview ready as best as I can. Thanks. Morgan, don't put this in the newspaper. Okay. morgan.victoriam@gmail.com. I can give pointers. I have a business plan. I've had to create them myself. They take a lot of work. Take a lot of hours. But I can provide a template that could be useful for you. I've done a 501c3 for my nonprofit. If you need assistance with that, I can send you information. But the resume and the interview, I can 100% commit to. Thank you, Emmanuel, and you all for this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Victoria. Our next guest is
She just told me she had. I'm sorry. I'll be training her up. Give her a round of applause. Nina Oakley. Let's give it up for him as he walked up to the
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
How you guys doing today?
All right.
All right. My name is Iken Okoli, and it's actually funny that just happened, because all my life, ever since I've been in the States, that always happened. Born and raised in Nigeria, I came to the States at the age of 10 years old. I could not speak, read, or write English. I took ESL, which is known as English Second Language, 3 years in a row. I spent my first 3 summers in the library every day. I went to Newark Public School in Newark, New Jersey. I was known as at-risk youth, which I did not know what that meant, so I was happy about it until I found out what that meant. However, so my topic today is facing life challenges. Keeping on with that topic, I could not read, write, or speak English. However, I was number 3 out of 144 in my high school graduation. I wanted to go to engineering school, RPI, in Troy, New York, upstate New York. I graduated a bachelor in industrial engineering. I began my career at Pratt & Whitney in aviation as an engineer. I continued my education. I pursue and I have my first master's in engineering sciences. my second master's in engineering management, my third master's, I have an MBA, and just like I said, I got my fourth master's in industrial engineering as well. So, and professionally, I currently work at General Electric Aviation, GE Aviation, as a senior operation manager. So the kid that came from Nigeria that could not speak or write English is now a graduate of 4 masters and working in corporate America. So I mean, I would like to piggyback to what the future mayor Yvette Wilson says. It takes a family to raise a kid, right? So me coming here, I'm not here in front of you guys by my own strength and my own knowledge, but literally by my faith and my family. So my motto is family, faith, and the future, right? If you have a strong family backing you up, and you have the faith, right? So people hear the word faith and they get scared. Oh my God, he's gonna talk Bible. No, I'm not. But we all have faith in everything we do. When you sit down, you have faith in that season to hold you up. When you brake in your car, you have faith it's gonna stop, right? So let's not shy away from the word faith, right? So, I mean, it was tough growing up in Newark, New Jersey, one of the, not the best city to raise a kid. I started school in 5th grade when kids are learning how to be mean and use some not so kind words. But I've since then learned how to give back to my community. So I just moved up here 2 months ago from Boston. I am literally new to Cincinnati, and I'm still trying to learn how I can get involved and help out. So similar to Victoria, I'm also trying to help people with professional development, college prep, and also professional placement. I'm trying to reach out to the youth to be of help anywhere possible. And so facing life challenges, my thing to you guys, the youth, I was hoping to see more youth here today, but the one that came out, thank you for coming out, I appreciate you. My advice to you guys is, number 1, learn how to be appreciative. And that just goes back to what the officer said, respect, right? You could imagine, I'm in a classroom, right, and the teacher asks a question. I will know the answer, but I can't answer it because I don't know how to speak the words. When we have a reading exercise, we read row by row, and I'll be next to read, and I just walk out and go to the bathroom because I know I couldn't read, right? We've been in a classroom, and the teacher says Africa, and everybody turns around and looks at me. And so, these are things that would happen, and just like Victoria said, things happen in life. So I mean, my message to you guys is, you being here today shows that you care about yourself. You show that you want to help yourself become better than you are. And the family around us, the people around us makes us better. Right? If you have a family member, or friends, or whoever that can get you to the next step in the next place in your life, don't be shy. Don't be scared to reach out to them. Right? So I mean, I would love if you have any questions for me. I just want to, if you guys, not to take up much time, but if you guys have a question real quick. Any questions? Nobody? Anybody? Sure. What do you have?
What was the hardest part of going into college?
So one of the challenges was lack of access, right? As the inner city kids, right? You don't know what you don't know. So going to college, I took, for example, I took AP Physics in high school, and I was straight A, 3.6 GPA. Took my first course, Intro to Chemistry, college. My first exam, and guess what I got? Not an F. I got a 9 out of 100. So to answer your question, the biggest challenge for me and what most inner city kids face is not knowing what they do not know. If you are in your environment, you're comfortable, you're the kid, you're the guy, everybody loves you, you get complacent and you think that's all there is. There are people out there that are way much more exposed, way much more knowledgeable, literally everything tenfold. So to answer your question, my challenge was knowing that I do not know everything. So what's my solution to that? Again, is being respectful. Who knows what I don't know, right? It's easy to go to class, and you see the cool kids here, and you see the not so cool that know what's going on. You want to fall to that cool kid side. I chose the opposite. I will hang out with you. I don't care how you look, but if you know what's going on in class, I would hang out with you just to get that knowledge from you. Right? Again, it's about building a network. Right? If you see somebody that's where you want to be, reach out to them. And so it's kind of a cliche, you don't know what you don't know, but it's really was a challenge for me. Right? Anything else? No? Well, if I have more time, right? No? Am I done? I gotta wrap it up. But thank you guys for having me here. Again, like I said, number one is being appreciated. If you guys were not here today, I would not be here today speaking to you. So thank you for your time. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, my email is. Can I do that? Can I? Right? My email is Ikenna, IKENNA .OKOLI. IKENNA.OKOLI@gmail.com. If you see me in the back, have any questions, I'd love to reach out. I'd love to be a voice. I'd love to work with the kids. I'd love to be, point of resource to you guys. All right, I work for not a big company. The GE is not that big, but if you have any help that I can provide to anybody, don't be shy. All right, guys. Thank you for this program. I appreciate your time. Thank
Thank you, Mr. Oakley. All of these guests will be available for you to get their emails and contact information. And our next guest is Stacy Wright Barlston.
Miss Stacy is coming up. She was over there working it out over there. Give it up for her as she comes to the stage. Sister from the Heart Health Network. Come on. I know you was networking. It's okay.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today?
All right.
Good. I'm standing here today. I can give you 9.1 million reasons why. That's the amount of African American women or women of color that had a heart attack last year. Heart attacks in the country. In the world. 9.1 million reasons. So, and I'm one of the women that survived that. I'm a 2-time heart attack survivor. I've had 2 massive heart attacks, 5 heart surgeries, 23 stays in the hospital. But by the grace of God, I'm still here. And I'm here to tell other women. The God of my understanding said, I need you to do an important message. I need you to tell other women that look like you that heart disease is our #1 health threat.
That's right.
Heart disease kills more black women than all cancers combined. I'm not gonna combine chronic illnesses, but I just want you to know the magnitude of the devastation of the epidemic of heart disease in our nation. So what I wanted to tell you guys is 10 things how you can prevent heart disease and be aware. 1 is know your risk. 2 is we need to move more. And just keeping it real, black women are overweight, okay? And we, including me, I had to walk my way to 25 pounds off. The more we're closer to our weight, the less stress it has on our hearts, and it helps us mentally, spiritually, and emotionally as well. We need to eat more fish and cut down on red meats. I'm not telling you don't go to McDonald's, but we need to put a little bit more poultry in our diets. Salt, y'all salt shakers. Y'all put salt in y'all food? Okay, yeah, well, you need to stop. That, not to get into a lot of studies, but just keeping things real simple. I was a credit analyst prior to starting the organization, which I'll tell you a little bit about. But we are finding that that salt in black people is, and we eat a lot of salt, and we're finding that studies are showing that salt in black people is extremely not well. It's not well for anyone, but it's something about our biogenics that it's really affecting us, and so we need to put the salt down. There's other options like Mrs. Dash's, or not to give one particular product a name, but just use some type of alternate form of seasoning because it's going to save your heart. The other one is cutting the fats out of our foods. It's really important that we eat a lot of lean. If we're going to eat meat, which we do, let's get the meat to be a little bit leaner because the fat is killing us as well. It won't break down in our bodies. It's, what's that mean? It's just a leaner cut of meat. Like red meat, there are certain parts of the body, I mean, of the animal that has a higher cut of thicker meat. So we're just asking you to eat leaner meats. Color your plate. A lot of people are not eating a lot of vegetables. So we're asking you to color your plate. Greens, reds. And we tell our children that too, so just put a little bit more color on your plate. That will help limit alcohol intake and smoking. We're finding that a lot of African American women in general are smoking, so we got to cut that back because it's killing us. And one of the big factors too that African American women face, whether unconsciously or conscious, is that we have a lot of stress as Black women here in America. We carry a lot of that weight, So we have to find alternate ways to talk about stress and to deal with stress. And I know culturally, a lot of us, I'm 48, I was about to say 45, Jesus. I'm 48, but I come from a family, and I'm sure I think I can, if you guys can speak as well, where it was like, don't tell the family business. You know what I'm saying? And what stays in our house stays in our house. But I'm here to tell you, ladies, that a lot of that is killing us. Because what it's teaching us is that we're not being able to talk in our own family, in our own communities, how to effectively identify, and not only identify, but address stress. Because, I'm here to tell you, we're not super women. We're not super men. So we need to learn how to deal with our stresses so we can handle them and effectively move for them. Because when you're having a lot of issues stress-wise, it affects your heart. It's putting a lot of pressure on your heart, So, and the last one is there are studies that show that people that would have heart disease, they're going to have a second one if they don't take care of their hearts. I was a 2-time heart attack survivor, like I said. So, as a result of this, those are the things that you can do. I started an organization called Sisters of the Heart Network. Because Black women, as I said, we carry the highest risk and rate of heart disease in the nation, but only 36% of us know that. And super quick, I'm not gonna hold you guys, but my heart attack was in my back. Women have heart attacks that are entirely different from men. Like Fred Sanford, you remember Fred Sanford? He was like, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. Okay, ours don't look like that. Because men have their heart attacks in their big vessels, so they're gonna get all that blood flowing in. So they're gonna have that type of heart attack. Women, we have our heart attacks in our smaller vessels. So you have this little vessel, a lot of blood trying to get in there, and it's not gonna work. So that's where it becomes massive. You have a leeway time of 100 and, okay, I gotta wrap it up. Okay, it's not my day, but we need to just take care of our hearts. We have a table back there, Sisters of the Heart Network. We're about empowering women to take care of their hearts and prevention information. Come see us. Thank you.
Thank you for teaching us how to take care of our bodies. Now we know not to use so much salt on our food. Now we're gonna go to the next guest, which is Charm Consultants. Actually, scratch that. They couldn't make it, so Now we're going to do manual following.
How everyone doing today? All right. Good. How are you? My name is Manuel Fogarty. I'm a 19-year-old running for Cincinnati City Council. It's pretty funny because earlier we said in the program that our youth was the ones being disrespectful. So we I'm gonna be honest with you. I came from a single mother household, and my mama didn't play that disrespectful stuff. But now as a 19-year-old, I can relate to us now because you tell us something to do, we go, well, all right, whatever. But if someone actually comes to you that's successful themselves in the same age bracket, then you're better off listening to them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running for Cincinnati City Council. We don't have any programs out there that we can benefit as a youth intelligence. So we seeing all these older people, not saying that the people in this room are old, but all the wisdom people in this room, they come with all these different strategies and solutions that we like, are y'all really considering our personalities in y'all solution? So I'm running for Cincinnati I know what a youth want. I'm not saying I'm a youth, but I know what we want out here. We want to do more hands-on things. We want people to talk to us as an adult, but we don't know how to respond as an adult. So we need to teach our youth out there to talk to each other as an adult, like you would in a normal conversation. Because honestly, me interacting with people, by me running for Cincinnati City Council, I've learned a whole lot, and that wasn't even from the people in my age bracket. I'm running off from 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 50-year-olds, and they're actually teaching me a lot of things. And one of the reasons I'm running for City Council is because our big three Ps are, I feel like I can do something better as this public transportation, public education, and public safety. Many of y'all don't know I'm a certified firefighter at that. So I became certified firefighter at the age of 17 when I graduated high school. And that was due to my public education system I had. I went to school at Northwest High School, and my junior, senior year I went to Butler Tech, Career Technical Center, and I became a certified firefighter. I wasn't even able to get my certification when I graduated high school. I had to wait a whole month and a half when my birthday came, and I became 18 years old. So if we get that into our schools, you know how good that would be a student would just not graduate with just a high school diploma and going back to work McDonald's flipping burgers and get wrapped up into life that they're still making burgers when they're 26, 27 years old, and then they lose their job at McDonald's and have to do a hustle. So if we can get that in there, that would be great. And us millennials, we work better hands-on. We don't know nothing. If you tell us from this is on the board to this has been in the book, we want to do it hands-on. So if we can get these hands-on careers, we get these cosmetology schools and all these firefighting schools and police officers, maybe we can go as a different and no child will be left behind because it's competitive. And then to teach kids in life that nothing is handed to you. You gotta fight for everything you get. You gotta be certified. You gotta outsmart your competitor because everyone in this room right now is competing. We're competing to be the most successful person in this room right now. So if we give our CPS students the ability to be that leap and get that success rate, we'll have poverty cut down, job creation be cut down, and jobs will want to invest into our school systems. So our city will actually be looked at instead of being Cincinnati. We'll be that Cincinnati that create leaders, that create a vision for our future. Whitney Houston said, our kids are our future. So let our kids not be the future anymore. It's time to be the present. Another P is public safety. Our police officers, again, I was a Cincinnati Police Explorer. I was a Hamilton County Sheriff Explorer, and right now I'm a private investigator. And so public safety. Our police officers can't be everywhere. They just can't. They got paperwork. They got to take people to jail. They got to do this and that. So we invest into our community groups and get them the certified training they should to defend themselves and be like, hey, the police, they doing this, they got on this, they went this way. Folks be like, all right, great, I'm on my way to that location, instead of coming to the scene, trying to gather people to talk, because ain't nobody gonna talk. You know how Cincinnati be. It was a club shooting and nobody talking, so come on, we gotta talk. And also, that'll help the police officer get them a big load to actually catch people. They won't be coming up on innocent people saying, hey, well, what happened, or getting the lip off and all that other stuff. And also, it was a program called Shots Fired. It was in Kansas City, actually. And it actually get the location of the shooting by wave parents. And also, many people adopted it around the country. Kansas City had the most successful rate right now. So if we can get that into our city, that'd be great too. That'd also give another heads up into our public safety department. And our public transportation is vital. As kids, we text and drive. We really don't want to drive. Mom forced me to drive when I was 15 because I was doing too much. But I want to lobby off my mom, parking high. $15 to go before the garage. So I want to catch this metro, but the metro, it takes like 2 hours just to get from Roseline to downtown. I ain't got time for that, I want to get there now. So we need to invest into our metro system. We need faster buses. We need buses that actually get to point A to point B in an efficient amount of time. It shouldn't take 2 hours just to go to Roseline or down straight down Red Road. And our light system. I'm tired of getting stuck at lights. You leave, especially on Paddock, what's that Paddock right there before when you get off 75? At that light, man, you stop at one light, or you be there for 15 minutes, you got the next light, you there, oh my God, we can get rid of it. We gotta get our light system checked out. And that's why we gotta get it into our school systems. The driver's ed used to be in there when our parents was there, but they ain't there now. And look, you talking to me, have you told another adult that? You told another adult that, and I wanna be that voice for us youth, because you're gonna come to us for problems and we need to fix it. So we need driver's ed back in the schools. We need home ed back in the schools. Some lady in the room asked me, do I know how to balance a checkbook? I don't know what a check is. I get direct deposit. So we get this back in our school system. It'll be great. I just want everyone, I can't do it alone. So if you got a vision for the city, you know what you want in your city, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be working for you. I'm not gonna be working for my own personal values. The residents I want to encourage and help out. So I'm open to any questions. You can go to my website. And fill out a Fogey card. My website is www.manuelfogey.com. Fill out the Fogey card. That'll get your name and tell me your views on our city and what we need to improve. And I can also incorporate that into what I will do when I get into office. But one thing, when I get in office, I will be here for you, and you won't be. You have a hard time catching me in my office because I'll be out here in the community fighting for you, fighting with you. So a couple of questions I have. Yeah.
A question about what you're talking about schools. I'd like to know, this was years ago, why can't, I'm not asking you, it's kind of a hypothetical question, home economics, driver's ed, construction management, cosmetology, mechanics. Every child is not meant to go to college.
They're not.
But Cincinnati Public Schools, everything's toward technology and kids going to college. Every child, my son, for example, had a disability, and yes, he did graduate with an IEP, but he was not, luckily, I had to switch him to go to Diamond. He's 30 years old now, but he actually had to go to Diamond Oaks to take construction management. Yeah. And we need to get regular things back in our school besides just college things.
So we need to come together as a community. That's the only way together we can change the way we solve our inner city issues. That's the only way we're gonna do it. And like I didn't say earlier, I'm a sophomore at Mount St. Joseph University. I'm also a college football player. So I know college is not for everyone. I done saw so many people drop out of college and I'm only in my second year. So I totally agree with you, but together we can do it. So if you vote for me, I promise you, I will fight with you and I will fight for you. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Council President I would like for you to be running for city council as a young man. I would like for you to say to me, or to tell us how you try to engage the youth to get more involved into the councils, and engage the youth to get more involved into the churches, and to get more involved into the government of the city. How would you approach that for the youth of cities and states?
I'm gonna give you a fast answer, but I can actually sit down and talk with you, and it'd be more sufficient because I ran over my time. But me, honestly, if I have to, I will go door to door to ask the youth to sign up. That's the only way, because we can't get them to come to us, so we got to go to them. And I'm gonna be that person that's in the neighborhood. If I got to knock on your door at 2 o'clock, if I got to walk and stay by your bus stop till you get out of school and say, hey, let's do this. We can do this together. Because people, as a kid, we lack the resources. We lack what's out there. We don't know what's out there, and some of our parents don't even know what's out there. So we have to go to them. That would be number one. And also, if you go to my website, that'll show you another connection to me and the youth. And by me being a youth myself, they're gonna listen to me, and I'll be out there helping away. So, yes, ma'am. This will be the last question.
Yes, I'm excited to see a younger body going towards city council, but what I want to ask you a question as far as the youth and you're thinking about, the future of what should be in the school systems. My organization, Strength to the Heart, have been involved in that design in the school system as far as your budget, your WOMAC, your construction administration, some of the other certified classes that get them on your way. So if you ever need us or need some questions or need some assistance or guidance, I'd be more than happy.
I will take your information.
Real quick, as far as the young people, running for city council, what do you think is the number one issue relating to systemic problems with our young people? Do I need to be faithful?
I understand now.
What's the number one systemic issue that you think the young people need to address?
Me as a young person, answering that question is resources. We lack the resources. We don't know where to go for the resources. Our parents sometimes don't know where to go for the resources, but myself, I was with the Cincinnati Explorers. I didn't know it was Explorers until I actually was like, I want to be a police officer. I asked the police officer, what do I need to do? They said, we got this program. And I've been in the Cincinnati Explorers program for 6 years now. And I feel like I'm ready to tackle the police world, but now I'm going to school to be a lawyer. So. But I'll run over my time a lot. So if you got any more questions, you can feel free to grab a card off the table. You can contact me on the cards, and also my website is on there, by email as well. And we're having a fogey forum or something like a debate, but it's going to be a forum that this audience can ask questions. It's April the 22nd at Clark Montessori High School, and it's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if you come out and show support there and get your questions asked about their city council candidates, and hopefully one of the candidates for mayor will be there. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Manuel Foggy. We really appreciate it. And see, they say black men don't do nothing but go to jail. We just see our black man, he got a plethora of resume. He's doing a whole bunch of things. So if he can, you can. And don't let nobody tell you anything different. Now, coming up next, we have the man that's behind this whole event. He's going to reflect on the event and talk to us a little bit about his organization, incorporating young entrepreneurs. DJ, can you get us ready? We're also going to have a debate, so stick around. I see people falling asleep. Can you play a song so we can wake them up real quick or something? Let's put our hands together for Mr. Emmanuel.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know there's a lot of people in the room. It's a lot less than what I thought it was going to be, but I'm going to say it again. Good afternoon. You know what? I appreciate everyone who came here today. We did a lot of hard work trying to put this event together. It was funny. A lot of people was coming saying, "Man, you did a good job, man. You did a good job putting this together." But you be very critical of yourself when it's something that you're trying to do and put together. But when I was sitting back there, somebody came up to me, they said, "Man, you just smile, it's okay." But you know, the first time I ever did an event, and Lawrence Jones is walking in the room right now, he could testify to this situation from just hiring me. We were 17 years old on Redden Road in an independent living program. And we said on every corner, there was something to do for the adults, a bar, somewhere for the adults to go get a drink or something to do. But we came up to the conclusion we needed to do something for the young people who were our age. So we said, we know we were very interested in music, but we didn't know exactly what we were going to do. So we saved up money. We were born and raised in the Avondale community. We cut grass, we shoveled the snow, we did all types of things that come up with money. So finally, right across the street next to District 4 was called the Armory. So we was able to go to the Armory and rent out the building. So we said we were going to do a team party. So we went around the city. We thought we was going to have a lot of people show up. We was dealing with older people that was in the music industry, from the DJs to the Wiz to a lot of different people. And trust and believe, the people who showed up on that event, it was a lot less that showed up on that event than there's people in this room. But we didn't stop. So the same thing of what's happening today, this will not be the first event that you hear from incorporating young entrepreneurs. To tell you a little bit about my journey, from going from Avondale, growing up in the inner cities, I lived in Avondale, I was able to work for a lot of entrepreneurs that was right in the Avondale community. I worked at J&W Barbecue, a lot of different entrepreneurs, but as I started to grow up, I started to see the community didn't look the same after a while. All of those stores started to close, or if they stayed open, it wasn't the people from the community owning those stores anymore. So I said, something was not right about this situation. But any city that I went to, I see the same exact thing going on. So from a very young age, I always loved entrepreneurship. Any type of entrepreneur, I wanted to talk to you. But by me going and talking to entrepreneurs, that's what got my foot in the door to be able to do a lot of different things. I was able to go on tour with Jay-Z. I was able to go on tour with Cash Money Records. I was able to go on tour with Rough Riders. And everything I'm saying, Mr. Lawrence Jones, which has been a business partner, a close friend, and also a brother, can attest to. So in my life, growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up, sometimes you can become a product of your environment. So seeing the things that I seen and wanting to be an entrepreneur, my path didn't always become a path that I'm trying to represent now. I've been shot. The bullet went through my chest, through my lung, and out of my back. The bullet wasn't intended for me. The bullet was intended for someone else. I was coming out of my home. I had just got back from Miami, Florida, doing a promotion with Lawrence Jones. He had a DVD that came out where we were trying to represent the music here in Cincinnati. I was talking to some people from the neighborhood of Westwood. Some cars pulled up. They got to shooting. Long story short, someone got robbed. They came back to revenge their family. Now this is a true story. I was at the hospital and on a hospital bed, and the nurse said, I don't know who you are, but can you please tell your friends and your community to call your people off? It was at least 30 people just on the floor, and there's about another 50 to 75 guys in the downstairs, and they were making phone calls to come to the hospital. So at that moment, I knew I had to make a quick decision because I knew what was about to happen. So we cleared the floor, everyone left. Now I was supposed to have been going to New York to do some other promotions. I met two different music groups, and one I was able to manage a group and went to Pittsburgh. Even though I was dealing with one lung, I was able to go to Sony Records. I was able to do listening parties, DJ K. Slade, who got 50 Cent his deal. I was able to do many events in Pittsburgh and New York with him. But I got a telephone call out of town. And at the phone call I got, they were outside of the family member's house who had shot me. Now the person who shot me, I had forgave him, and the police even asked me to testify against this young man in court. I refused to do that. My reason for refusing wasn't because I was scared of the gentleman. My reason was I understood why he felt the way he felt. His brother had been robbed at gunpoint, and they made his brother run down the street with no clothes. I have two brothers. One brother is currently just left to go to California to pursue his career, and another brother who just went to Pittsburgh who's going to get his master's degree as a chemical engineer. But during my life, I always didn't represent the right things. So when I wanted to gangbang, my brothers wanted to gangbang also. So when I got this telephone call in Pittsburgh, the telephone call, they said, Emmanuel. Well, they actually didn't say Emmanuel. I go by the name of Network. And I got that nickname because I wasn't scared to talk to anybody, and I would talk to many people. They said, we're here. All you have to do is say yes. So I understood what was about to happen. The person who shot me wasn't in the house. It was a mother in the house, and it was also the sister of the person who shot me. If I would have gave the command of yes, those people wouldn't have been alive. But I knew that wouldn't be the right thing to do. Now, my father was one of Jehovah's Witnesses and also my mother. And the Bible talks about turning to the other cheek. But one thing about my father, he always would tell me, I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. It's your job to defend yourself. But I knew if I was to give that order and they was to run in the house, it would have been a casualty to happen. So I told them no. Catastrophe, thank you. But I'm proud to be able to make that decision and not to continue to promote a certain lifestyle or to continue a situation that will continue to happen. I was an innocent bystander for a situation that happened. If I would have said yes, and maybe even as bad as I wanted to, I didn't even know who was in the house till later on, then that means I would have continued the problems that we see going on in Cincinnati. So at that point, it still didn't sink into me to make a change. I went to the penitentiary. I've been home for 3 years. I was on probation for 5 years. Was supposed to have been on probation for 5 years. But one thing, when you're faithful to God, He sees everything. They say faith as small as a mustard seed will move a mountain. I'm here to tell you it's the truth. I wrote the paperwork that a lawyer would write myself. First time, they said, no, we're not going to let you out probation. I went through 4 probation officers. The 4th probation officer was from Chicago. So I gave her my business card, and she smiled when she seen growth and development. Now, growth and development stems from Larry Hoover, which was representing Gangster Disciples. My goal is to promote growth and development. And I can do that through entrepreneurship, because in our community, that's what we need. So she made a phone call, and I was getting a little frustrated. I'm normal, I'm human just like anyone else. I said, you know what? I'm about to give up on keep writing these letters or trying to fight these cases on my own. Right now I don't have the money that I need to get back to the music that I want to do. And I was definitely getting phone calls and seeing people that I knew that wanted to get me involved in other things. I made $8.50 when I came home from the penitentiary. Mr. Jimmy, who I look as a father, is in the audience. I worked up under Mr. Jimmy all the time. He only encouraged me as a father would do. I lost my father last year in the month of April. This year will be 1 year. But Mr. Jimmy was able to put me under his wing and always talk to me and keep me encouraged. But they say God will never put you, things don't happen for an accident. God will put you next to the people who you need to be with to keep you motivated. that keep you going. So even though it's not a lot of people here, we still gonna continue to push IYE and all the other vendors that was here and the people who represent for the young people in Cincinnati, Ohio. Doing a couple more things as far as my journey. Can you imagine a person who has a penitentiary number being able to go to Africa, where they told me I couldn't even get a passport? Not only did I go to Africa, I went to the Congo DRC, that used to be known as Zaire, where Muhammad Ali fought at. Now, if you were to go to the Congo DRC, there's going to be a lot of warnings to tell you not to go. My father said, I'd rather you go to the worst part of California than to go to the Congo DRC. But guess what? I went anyway. Even the University of Cincinnati would not support my study abroad to go there. Let me tell you how serious this got. They told me, no, you shouldn't go. We don't have anything set up there. So me, being a determined person that I am, I didn't stop. I found out you can do an independent study abroad. So I went back to the office. I said, I heard you guys have an independent study abroad. They said, oh, we forgot to tell you about that. I said, okay, well, I'm glad I found that out. So they came back, they said, well, we don't have a program set up there. I said, well, I have a person who's from the Congo DRC, who works at the school, who's bilingual, everything is set up. A month into going, they said, no, we can't support this unless you sign a waiver. I signed a waiver. As I signed a waiver, a week and a half of my departure, they called me back to the office. They said, we need you to write a second waiver that we're not responsible if anything happens. So to me, I get to scratching my head to say, I wonder what's the problem with learning more about Africa and going to Africa. So 3 days before my trip, they called me into the office. The person from the study abroad, he says, you know what? Every person in this university who deals with the legal team, or the lawyers, and anyone on a higher level of the board, we know who you are. We are advising you not to go, and we will not support your journey to Africa. 3 days before my trip, after I've done 2 waivers. So finally, what do? They asked me, hey, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm going to the Congo DRC. I've already paid for it. And that's exactly what I did. I was able to go to the University of Munich. I also was able to go to the parliament, which is the government. I actually was able to meet the president's daughter, which I didn't even know was his daughter. I actually was able to sit down with the ministers of the country, the minister of finance. I also was able to sit with the minister of agriculture. He told me that he will be able to donate 400 hectares of land. Now hectares is 2.5 of an acre. He was willing to give me 400 to 500 acres of land. But this is a person who grew up in Avondale, who has a penitentiary number, who's been shot, who's been stabbed. Who would have ever thought I would be able to even sit down with the USAID and also the United Nations? The United Nations told me I could use their aircrafts for free to do my project. So my goal, I'm not boasting, I'm explaining to you to never give up on your dreams. Even on putting this event together. We were originally going to be across the street at Woodward High School. I had close friends tell me, man, you just cancel the event, do it later. I said, well, even if we got to hold this in front of my apartment, we still going to have this event. And we did. So my goal in wrapping this up is to, one, speak to the young people in the room. Never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. No one. It can be your own mother and father sometimes who will sit and tell you, are you crazy? Are you really seriously thinking about going after that? But you know, sometimes they didn't, or might, they, excuse me, they might have not accomplished some of the things that they wanted to accomplish, and might think that's not the route that they wanted you to go through or go down. Now, I'm not saying to be disobedient to your parents, because the Bible tells you and the Quran tells you to be obedient to your parents. And we have become a community where we do not respect our elders. But for the elders in the room, it's not the same. I'm 35. Y'all don't speak to the young people. Y'all walk right past them every day. When I do these events, you know what y'all say? Them kids bad. Why are you even trying to deal with them? They are lost cause. They are lost cause because y'all giving up on them. If you're not doing your job as an adult to reach out to the community, this situation that we're seeing will continue to happen. So in closing, I want to say thank you for everyone who came out to the event. We still have enough opportunity. Actually we don't. The goal was to do the old school versus new school debate. This is not the last of the events. We will do another event here August the 12th. It's called the Last Minute Back to School event. May, when the youth are getting out of school, we also will be launching IYE Rent-A-Kid program. And already, Mr. Lawrence Jones, who's in the back of the room, if you don't know Mr. Lawrence Jones, has already launched Just Hire Me. He has a t-shirt, he's standing back there. Give him your business card. A lot of people, I want to put this out there really quick. I got phone calls, and they said, well, Mr. Jones is trying to launch something, and he don't have the jobs lined up yet. But guess what? If you're not willing to hire the teams, then the program's not going to work. So if you will do me a favor, get this brother's number and get the message out here to Just Hire Me and incorporating young entrepreneurs. We're pushing for the youth. We're going to get jobs. We're going to connect. On the next time, I'll explain a little bit more how the Rent-A-Kid program used to be. But we're going to hire teams. The community, our businesses will hire teams. And we're going to keep pushing this effort for the youth and through entrepreneurship. Thank you for coming.
Everybody be safe getting home again. Thank you so much for coming out. Nobody can tell you that you cannot do what you want to do. If you got a dream, make it happen.